Welcome to Be On It, episode 24, part 2.
Jessica, what's going on in the Beehive today?
Oh, hey, Debbie. I had so much fun talking about movies and shows that influenced us. I thought a part 2 was needed. So I was thinking about one of my favorite action horror movies of 2025
Yeah.
was the movie Sinners.
Ooh, what a title.
It was so well done. It was a different perspective of a vampire movie that I had never seen done. And it was set in Mississippi in 1930s about these two twin brothers who open up a juke joint. There's music and just generational curses, and it blended Southern Gothic with vampire.
Mm.
And it was so, so good. There's a particular scene in the movie where every culture is dancing together from different time frames, and it was
Mhm.
just beautifully filmed.
Mm.
It moved me, and I got really teary-eyed because it was just so pretty to see.
Wow. That I wouldn't have thought that just based on the genre and the title and the vampire storyline. I wouldn't have got that it had so much more that meets the eye.
It was very deep rooted in the Mississippi Delta culture of the time, and it really opened my eyes to what it was like in that area because I'm not from that area. Not being from the South, we wouldn't experience the same things if you grew up in a different part of the United States. And so it was really interesting to see cross culturally all the dynamics. It was really a well done movie, and I loved it.
Oh my goodness. When did you watch that? Is it just basically appropriate for adults then? Based on,
It's appropriate for adults.
so not
Yeah.
young kids, right?
I would say maybe 18 and up. I watched it right when it came out. I went to the movie theater and watched. I know that you don't watch a lot of horror movies, but I remember one movie, and I don't remember when this came out.
Are you talking about Parasite?
Parasite.
Oh, yeah.
I loved that movie.
Did you watch it on the big screen or at home?
I think I watched it at home, if I
Okay,
remember right.
same here. And I don't usually tend to watch horror movies because I don't like getting scared. I don't like feeling scared.
Well, right, but done in a way that it wasn't like in your face horror. It was more like bigger picture. It was like classism. It was just so interesting being a fly on the wall, so to speak, and watching this play out.
I watched it at home, right? So you're really relaxed at home. And I had an open mind. I didn't really know the backstory or anything. So it didn't strike me as a horror movie from the beginning. And then there were moments that were scary. I'm not going to lie. There were moments that surprised you. You're right. The classism was there. And then there was something in that movie that resonated with me, which is the scenes related to the guy smelling the other guy, the guy saying, like sniffing, being like, oh, I can smell you. That made a big impression on me because if you remember, it came up later too. So I sometimes think about that when people are like snooty about odors and stuff because it can be very triggering for people.
Yeah.
Smells.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you do remember smells. Even if it's been years, it's just something that is connected to your memory and also your sense of taste.
No, I totally agree.
It's like hard to say how that element played out in the movie without giving the ending away. The storyline itself was very interesting and it didn't feel really realistic to me, but the elements of the story were very much true.
I agree with you. The reality is, like, wasn't she the housekeeper that kind of hid her husband in behind like a hidden wall and like behind the refrigerator because she needed to earn an income because their house flooded because they were poor, so they lived on the bottom of a hill and all the rain came, and like the wealthier people had all this money and their influence. And I think what stuck out in my mind the most was the classism. And like just like how the upper class were treating just somebody that didn't have as much
Mhm.
and just their privilege. And for me, that just really, really stuck out. And the consequence of when you treat people, there's a consequence and an effect to that, and it affects people.
And I think also another theme of dishonesty. I mean, obviously that was
Right.
really pretty apparent in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, just one of those movies that still lives in my head and I think about every once in a while.
What was really interesting for me, along with all of those major themes, is that as an audience member, we could see everything. We could see two sides of the story. We can see behind the dishonest veil to see the juxtaposition of what the perception was and what the real situation was really interesting for me.
It was. It was a really cool dynamic. I
It's like
agree.
nail biting
Yeah,
in certain moments.
if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend. That was my favorite horror action movie. And then I was like thinking about like one of my favorite romance movies, not necessarily for the romance as much as for the scenery. I remember watching The English Patient in 1996,
Ooh.
and it was mainly the setting for me. It was set in the Sahara desert, and its beauty just captivated me. Like the aerial views, I think that for me watching movies and reading books takes me to a different place. And
Mhm.
so visually it just was stunning.
Mm.
And I think that's why I really loved the movie mostly. I mean, the romance was there too, but that
Yeah.
not as much as just the beauty of the scenery that really captivated me. I don't know if you've ever watched, like, do you have a favorite romance movie that you think about, or a movie that like the scenery like captivated you?
It's interesting that you say that you remember the scenery. I need to pay more attention to that when I watch movies because I don't. Then,
War drama that came out for me that really stood out to me was in 1993,
Mhm.
Schindler's List. And
Oh, yeah.
it tells the story of Oskar Schindler. He was a German industrialist and a part of the Nazi party, and he saved over 1,200 Polish Jews during that time, during the
Mhm.
Holocaust. What the movie really just kind of reinforces is don't ever forget. We don't ever want history to repeat itself. But I remember them putting a little girl in a red coat
Mm.
and everything else was in black and white. And that's always been imprinted in my head because it was just the innocence of a child and being led into a situation that was basically dire. Person watching just the humanity of it all and like
Mhm.
the sadness of what was happening to people at that time just tore at my heart.
The cinematography in that movie was really good. Regarding the Schindler's List movie, do you remember the music?
Oh, the music was phenomenal.
I still remember the music. The soundtrack for that movie was phenomenal.
Yes, it was. That leads me to The Pianist with
Oh,
Adrian Brody. That was made in 2002. It was another movie that just showed human resilience. He was a piano player and how he got through the horrors of the Holocaust. It was another really well done movie. Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on. I like Hotel Rwanda, all of these really like interesting movies from all over the world. It really just puts in perspective things people have gone through and how like lucky I am that I've never had to go through that.
I was just thinking about The Pianist. What was the pace of that movie?
I would say it wasn't slow, but it took its time to really like show you the broad horror of what was going on during that time, but
Mhm.
also he was dodging active war situation. There was a lot of things going on that he was trying to run from and just trying to escape from. I think it I think it was like evenly paced is what I'd say. But I haven't watched it since 2000. I never forgot about it. And I think
Mhm.
he won an Oscar for that. Oh, Adrian Brody got best actor for his portrayal. Yeah.
We talked about horror movies, we talked about romance movies,
Yeah.
and war movies. What did we leave out?
So I remember just some fun movies from like when we were kids, like Back to the Future, Dirty Dancing, Weird Science. I don't know what category you'd put them in, but they're just a category of all their own, you know? It's like such good memories,
Oh,
like
how about this? Coming of age movies.
coming of age movies.
Oh
Exactly.
my goodness. We had a laugh about the movie Weird Science.
Yeah, because of these, I thought like not very many people have watched that, but it was just so funny.
You don't think a lot of
Well,
people watch?
maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I watched
I've
so many different movies. Like movies were big in my life, so I watched everything. And so it's not one that like for somebody that doesn't watch a lot of movies growing up, that I would think you would have watched. So I was really surprised that you watched it. And that's why we were laughing, because just this coming of age for these two boys, of course, like what boy that's a teenager wouldn't want to create the perfect woman, you know? It was just hilarious on how it was done, you know, what they created and the cause and effect. It was just so funny.
It's so funny. I remember the main character's face, the one with the red hair. I just remember it was just, his expressions were just so good during the movie. I could totally relate.
Remember the popcorn like filled up the whole house and it was coming out the front door? I haven't thought about like rewatching those until we started talking about all this. But yep, it's time to rewatch.
And Dirty Dancing was such a good one. I think I just recently watched that. That was on Netflix recently.
Swayze he was a great dancer, great actor of his time. Dirty Dancing, Jennifer Grey, you know, she played a young 17-year-old, and then Patrick Swayze played a much older dance teacher. No wonder the dad was having a hissy fit about her hanging out with him. And it was just this coming of age movie of her kind of finding herself and finding romance. The dancing was phenomenal, and just the storyline was cute. The music was good. Like,
the
who
music
doesn't remember ever dancing or singing to Dirty Dancing soundtrack?
Ugh.
And of course, we have Back to the Future, you know, a kid and going to visit his professor that is like a scientist in the barn and creating this time machine and going back to when his parents are teenagers. Everybody knows it because it's still one of those movies that people talk about.
Iconic, and just the imagination involved in that.
Exactly. Ben Stiller made a movie in 2013 called The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, focused on an ordinary man who escapes his mundane reality through vivid daydreams. And then somehow his daydreams become a reality, and he goes on this path of self-discovery, and you find him in all areas of the world. And it was so good and resonated with me, because we can all take chances and live a big, loud, beautiful life if we want to. If we just have to like let go, and we can't be afraid is what I'm trying to say.
What genre do you think that movie was?
It would probably fall as like a drama, I guess. I don't know what they'd categorize it. It was a feel-good self-discovery kind of movie. It's an adventure comedy is what it said. There was some funny aspects of it. Ben Stiller's can be serious, but he's also a funny guy. Like, you think of Zoolander. Remember Zoolander? Oh my gosh, I love Zoolander.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've watched it.
Okay, it's just unpretentious and just pokes fun of himself. Like, he's this male model, but like over, like, this is where we say, get your best Zoolander face. Like a good mug shot for the pictures. There's so many movies that I can think of. I love B movies, like Army of Darkness. That's a cult classic. Mars Attacks, another great movie. And I watched everything. So I just kind of have my favorites and things like cult classics that just kind of stick with me. We didn't have cable TV, and there wasn't a lot of things to go do in my area. It rains a lot. So going to the movies was a pretty regular thing, even with friends. Like, we'd go watch a movie, or we'd go bowling.
It's cool that you watched a large variety of different genres too. So you were pretty well-rounded.
It was a way to kind of explore the world. If I couldn't be there in person, it was a way to like see how others lived or their perceptions. That's why I love international movies too. It just opens my eyes to the world, and how people bring community together, and that we're not really that unalike. We're all very similar with things that we go through.
We need to come up with a list of different genres and movies that we can put in each genre category, honestly, because I go onto these streaming services and it takes me like an hour to find a movie that I want to watch. And then I don't end up watching it.
That's true. I can give you lots of recommendations. You've got a whole list of things you can watch now. I recommend The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, especially if you're kind of stuck and you're just trying to like figure things out.
Is it okay for a family to watch?
I don't think there's anything inappropriate in it. It's a feel-good movie.
No, I think that might be the one that I might choose to watch if it's available.
If you guys like what we're all about, please join us next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.
We are all about community. Join our community by following and subscribing to Be On It through YouTube, Instagram, and of course your podcasting platform, so we can continue to bring Be On It to you. Just so you know, this is for entertainment purposes only. We are speaking from our lived experiences and are not licensed therapists.